Straight
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic: the world does not owe you understanding. Now, before I get into that, explaining, as I always do, where the topic is coming from, why we're talking about it, and then taking you where it needs to go. First of all, let me tell everybody I have a daily motivation text message that I send out for free. Yes, for free. Every single day to everyone who's in my text community. If you would like to receive that text, all you have to do is send me a message right now to raise your hand and let me know that you want it. And every day when I send the daily motivation text message out, because you have raised your hand and got yourself into my community, you'll be getting that text every day free of charge, guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. So text me right now so I know that you want my daily motivation, and tomorrow morning when I send it out, you'll be getting it. Now, this topic: the world does not owe you understanding. This is really about you understanding and being able to look at things in an objective, rational, dispassionate way, so that we can focus on the game that we're actually in, which is a results-based business, not a emotion-based business, not a feelings-based business, but a results-based business. And let's get a definition, first of all, of this word understanding. Understanding is defined as sympathetically aware of other people's feelings, also tolerant and forgiving. That is a definition of understanding. I want you to understand that this energy is not owed to you by the world. Now, hopefully, there are some people out there in your world who do understand you, people who are sympathetic to you, people who do care about your feelings, people who are tolerant of you and forgiving of your transgressions. Hopefully, you have a few people in your life who fit that description. But here's what you have to understand. Despite their presence, the world in general does not owe this to you. Just like we talked about yesterday, entitlement, you are not entitled to being understood by anybody. So if you ever feel like, this is one of the reasons why I sent an article out not too long ago, and depending on where you are in my email sequence, you might not have gotten it yet. But understand, this is why I say you should never tell somebody that they're not listening to you. Now, you ever had somebody tell you that you're not listening to them, mostly because you're not agreeing with them? Or have you ever told somebody that they're not listening to you? You should never say this. All right, episode 2026, I told you this. If you ever tell somebody that you're not listening, you ever say that to another person, they are listening to you. It's just your communication sucks. You need to step your communication skills up. See, it's not another person's job to really listen to you and understand what you're trying to communicate. It is your job to better communicate it on their level, in their language, their dialect, so to speak, so that they do understand it. Because if they're not understanding you, then you are failing to get your point across. And if you fail to get your point across, you can blame the other person if you want to, but did you achieve the outcome? Let's remember what game we're in. Results-based business. If you don't achieve the result of getting your point across to another person, whether you want to blame them or not, you didn't achieve the outcome, which means what? You came up short in your job. You see, this is the way that we look at things here at Work on Your Game. Results-based business. We're talking about results here, not who can you blame, not whose fault is it, not they weren't listening. Nobody cares if they weren't listening. If you're a salesperson and you go out and make 10 sales calls today, and you're paid 100% on commission, and all 10 people who you sit down and make your presentation to are not listening to you, at least according to you, and you make 0 sales today, therefore you make no money. All right, can you go home and tell your family, hey, I made 10 sales presentations today, but they weren't listening. So look, we're not gonna have dinner tonight and no breakfast tomorrow, but they weren't listening. So that should make it okay. Will that work? Of course not. Now, that's kind of an extreme example, but the point is 100% accurate. So this whole thing of people needing to understand you is a false idea that has been seeded in many people through this era of entitlement that we live in now. So this message is more important than ever for me to give it to everybody right now, because so many people are feeling entitled as if something's owed to them when absolutely nothing is owed to you. Okay? It is not owed to you by the world for you to be understood. It doesn't mean that you can't have it. It doesn't mean you can't get it. And it doesn't mean you can't be understanding of other people. And it doesn't mean other people will not have it for you. But it also means that it's not owed to you. All right, so understand there's a difference between having something and it being owed to you. All right, the world doesn't owe me money. Doesn't mean I can't have money. Now, I can go get money, but it doesn't mean I can't sit around. If I don't have money, I can't sit and say, hey, the world owes me $100. I'm just going to sit here until somebody gives it to me. No, I can go out and make $100, but I can't sit here and say that the world owes it to me. You understand? So if you don't have it, understanding, or that $100, doesn't mean that anyone has done you wrong. It just means you haven't achieved the outcome yet. Get it? But let me get into my point so you'll understand it even better. Point number one. Topic, once again, is the world does not owe you understanding. Number one, nobody really cares about your situation. I'm going to let that point sink in. Your situation. All right, you got a lot going on right now in your life. All right, you got some family issues that you had to deal with. Your car broke down. You got fired from your job. Your computer is malfunctioning. The phone company is they messed up the bill and they charge you twice as much they're supposed to charge you. The credit card company is trying to screw you over with a bad percentage rate on interest. And you got all these things going on in your life. All right, and then you happen to be black and you're LGBT and you're feminine and you're a woman as well, and you got all this other stuff going on. You got all these things going on in your life. Nobody really cares. This is just the truth. Nobody cares. Now, if you tell somebody about your situation, again, most people are generally good people. They'll listen. They don't really care. There's a difference between somebody listening to you and actually giving a damn about what you're saying. So if I'm talking to somebody and I'm trying to sell them something, and they start telling me their stories about their issues and their problems and why they don't have the money to pay for the thing that I'm trying to sell, I will politely listen to you, but do I really care? No, I don't. I don't care. I was talking to a neighbor of mine about business today, and he made a really good point. And this is what he said. He said, if it's the first of the month and your mortgage is due or your rent is due, the bank doesn't care about your family situation. It doesn't care what's going on in your job. It doesn't care about your struggles and your hardships. All it cares about is if that wire transfer or that check or that credit card payment is going to clear the banking system and they get their money. That's all they actually care about. Can we all agree to this? Of course we can. The challenge for many of you is that you have been conditioned and indoctrinated for so long in this feminine energy, and I'm talking males and females I'm talking about here, in this feminine energy of how much your feelings and your emotions matter to the actual situation and producing the actual results. You've been taught so much that this matters more than the actual outcome that many of you understand what I just said and you logically agree with it, but you are not emotionally accepting it. And this is what I'm trying to help you get. I'm going to keep banging it into your head until you emotionally accept it. That's what I'm going to do. Or until you stop listening to anything that I have to say. One or the other. Whichever one comes first. People always want to explain their situation because we all feel like our situation is so unique and different and specific compared to everybody else's. And you know what? You're right. Your situation is unique, different, and specific compared to everybody else's in the world. At the same time, even though your situation is unique, guess what? So is everybody else's. So if we had to sit around and listen to everybody's situation, none of us would have time to get any work done because we have to listen to everybody's story because everybody got one. So here's what you can do instead. Save the story until you have created so much success that people are asking you to tell the story. If nobody's asking you to tell your story, stop telling it. That's a good one right there. If nobody's asking you to tell your life story, stop telling it. If nobody's asking you to explain your current situation, stop explaining it. And that right there will save a lot of time for a lot of people. A lot of people do a lot of explaining of their current situation. Nobody really cares about your current situation. Here's why people don't care about your current situation, because everybody has a current situation. It's not that you are insignificant, it's just that everybody else has one too. So again, how much time do we have here? All right, we ain't got that much. We only got 24 hours in a day. I can't tell you how many times I'm talking to a person and I tell them, they ask me a question, and usually I've learned email. I've talked to enough people over the years. I've been publishing for damn near 20 years now. So I've talked to enough people over the years, whether in emails, DMs, text messages, live conversations, to understand how to kind of short circuit people from getting too long-winded in their storytelling. Because I'll get people who reach out to me and say, Dre, can I ask you a question about my situation? They will frame it just like that. And I'll say yes. I used to just say yes. And then they would give me this long, basically a blog post about their situation. And oftentimes they would forget to even ask the question. They would just tell me their situation. And then I got to the point, the second stage of that was I would read it and I would say, well, the first stage I would actually respond to them telling me their story. They didn't actually even ask a question, even though they asked if they could ask a question. Then I got smarter and I said, okay, well, what is the actual question here? Because they would give me all this information with no question. Then I got even smarter than that and I said, okay, when they would ask me if they could ask me a question, I would say, yes, keep it short. That's what I started saying. And nowadays, that's what I do still. So if somebody asks me, can I ask you a question about my situation? I say, yeah, just ask me the question, keep it short. All right, don't tell me your life story. I even say that. Don't give me your life story. Don't tell me your whole situation. Just tell me what the question is. Your question should be one sentence. Just tell me the question. And the whole point is, people, entities, businesses don't care about your situation. This sounds harsh and cold to some of you who've never heard this before, because you spent your whole lives being told that your situation and your specific circumstance matters that much to other people, when it absolutely does not. All right, so now I'm smacking you in the face. I'm giving you some cold water in the face, letting you know nobody really cares about the situation. Even I know people listen when you start telling your story. That's because people are nice, not because they actually care about what you have to say. At least not in that part. Everybody wants to think theirs is so unique. Even when it is, people don't care. All people care about is the outcome. Which moves us to point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is the world does not owe you understanding. Let's remember, number 2, life is a results-based business. I did a whole episode on this, masterclass number 1443. And by the way, every episode of this show, you can listen to it at workonyourgamepodcast.com. And I talked about it in damn near every episode of this show. Y'all hear me say this over and over again. If you listen to 10 episodes of this show, you will at least one time hear me mention the phrase results-based business. Because this is one thing that people tend to forget or ignore, or just seem to glaze over when you're so focused on yourself and what you want. You forget that the goal is to produce results. See, when you produce results, you can get whatever you want, because everybody in the world wants results. So if you're a person who can help another person get results, they will give you whatever it is that you want. And I just explained, that's the sales business right there in one sentence. In life, you will be judged on the results that you produce based on your performance. That's it, and that's all. People don't have to like you. They don't have to be friends with you. They don't even have to respect you, actually. Right? They don't have to. I mean, of course, you want those things. You want people to like you, and you want friends. You want people to respect you. They don't have to. As long as you're producing results, people can't ignore that. Now, somebody could hate you. As long as you're producing results, they got to keep paying you. All right. How many of you hate the cable company, but you pay that bill every month? Now, how many of you hate the electric company, or the gas company, or the insurance company for your car, or the landlord where you live, or the bank that owns your house that you pay mortgage to, or the phone company that you pay your bill to? How many of you hate one of the companies that you pay a bill to every single month? A bunch of you nodding your heads right now, but you pay that bill, don't you? Okay, so there's my point explained in your own life. When you can produce results, you can call your own shots. You write your own ticket, is what we said. You can name your own price. All right? People will do what you want done when you produce results. You look at somebody like LeBron James. When he went back to the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2014, after 4 years playing for the Miami Heat, every year he signed what they call 1+1, a 1-in-1 contract, which is a 1-year contract with a player option for year 2. These were essentially 1-year contracts. So every year he could opt out of his contract if he wanted to and just become a free agent, essentially. And the reason that LeBron did that is it gave him leverage. Because every summer, because he was such a great player, and he was such a high-level performer, he produced such great results. Notice my verbiage here. He had all the leverage because the Cleveland Cavaliers needed him more than he needed them. So every year when he made himself a free agent, or he could become a free agent, Cleveland Cavaliers had to do what LeBron James and company and his team wanted them to do. Otherwise, he could walk away and go play for another team. He could take his services elsewhere. And because his services were so valuable, LeBron was basically the best player in the NBA during that time period, they couldn't afford to lose him. So they had to do what he wanted them to do. So even though he was the employee, he actually flipped the situation around, and he had more power than they did because he needed them more than they needed him. You understand? And the reason he can name his own price is because he performed and he produced results. And you can do the exact same thing. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is the world does not owe you understanding. Number 3, today's world has done many people a grave disservice. Here's what it's done. It has made you believe that your feelings and emotions matter more than your performance and your results. This is false. Now, you may pay more attention to your feelings and emotions than your performance and results. The people around you may have you believing that your emotions and feelings matter more than your performance and results, but they are setting you up for failure. Again, not maliciously. They're not doing it on purpose. They just don't know any better. All right, that's why I exist. The world has you believing that your emotions matter more than your results. They don't. This untruth is leading you down the wrong path. So take my word for it. That's one option. And here's option B. You can learn the hard way on your own. All right, and you can allow your feelings and emotions to run you into the ground. Because the people who are producing results are going to walk all over top of you while you're laying there. And they're not going to stop to pick you up. Because again, the world doesn't care. The world does not owe you understanding. All right. Your emotions and feelings don't matter in the big picture of life. They don't matter. Now, I'm not saying that you should ignore them. I'm not saying that you should stop paying attention to your own feelings and emotions. But what you should do instead is, instead of wallowing in them or thinking that they matter more than they do, is that you learn to channel them into production and into outcomes that produce the kind of results that you want, so you can name your ticket and you can write your own ticket, name your price, get what you want, kind of like LeBron did with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Or you can go get some therapy. That's a place where your feelings and emotions matter a lot. All right, so if you want your feelings and emotions to matter a lot, go sign up for therapy. And if you saw The Sopranos, you go get yourself a Dr. Melfi, and you can go talk about it, sit on the couch and talk about it as much as you want. But when that hour's up, all right, now you gotta get back to the results business. Even there, when you go to a therapist, the person who goes, the client, you are paying for the privilege of being allowed to express your emotions and your feelings. So even then, there's a result there. All right, you're not producing the feelings and emotions yourself. You are producing the emotions and the feelings, but a person is paying for the privilege of you allowing them to express their feelings and emotions. So if you are a therapist, if you're the clinician, somebody pays you money so that they can sit there and tell you their emotions and feelings, and hopefully you're helping them. You're not just letting them free associate and then, all right, time's up, get out. You're helping them talk through it. But that's where feelings and emotions matter. Everywhere else in life, everywhere else you go, the other 99.9% of the earth, all right, nobody cares. All that said, let's recap today's class, which is, the world does not owe you understanding. Definition of understanding is sympathetically aware of other people's feelings, also tolerant and forgiving. This is not owed to you. Number one, nobody cares about your situation. All right, when the first of the month comes, the place you live just wants their property taxes, the mortgage, the rent, whatever it is that you owe. People always want to explain their situation because we feel ours is so unique and different and specific. And there are places where you can tell your situation. This is if you have a coach, or you go to a therapist or something like that. Those people will listen to your situation and talk to you specifically about your specific circumstance. Everywhere else in life, nobody really cares. Again, there are some places where you can pay for somebody to listen to that, but everywhere else, nobody cares. Number two, life is a results-based business. I talked about this in episode 1443. In life, you be judged based on the results that you produce, based on your performance. And when you produce results, people don't have to like you, be friends with you, or even respect you, but they cannot ignore the fact that you are producing results. See LeBron James from 2014 to 2018. Number three, today's world has done many people a disservice that has you believing that your feelings and emotions matter more than your performance and your results. This is a lie and an untruth that is leading you down the wrong path in life. It is leading you down a path to failure and a lack of success. Let's just call it that. Take my word for it, or you can learn the hard way on your own. Many of you have already learned this, and you need somebody to smack you in the face with the truth. I'm giving it to you right now. Hopefully you didn't duck and you took the smack, because you need it. Therapy is the only place in the world where you can just talk about your feelings and emotions, and they actually matter a lot everywhere. And even then, you got to pay somebody to listen to that shit. Everywhere else, only thing people care about are the results that you produce based on your performance. All that being said, text me to get my daily motivation free of charge straight to your phone every single day. My number is 305-384-6894. And go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's where you can work with me directly and get access to my full Work on Your Game 9-part system, where we help you develop, show, and get ROI for your game when you put it out there into the world. Going through my 9-part system: discipline, confidence, mental toughness, personal initiative, mindset, strategy, accountability, execution, and communication. That is at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all